What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I am that dude. College football week number 4 coming right at you. But first, I want to go over some of the things that you're going to be seeing in this video. I'm going to be talking about my games of the week, our record so far this year, a underdog, winner outright, and you're going to get my official plays, my lock of the week. So make sure to stay tuned. If you're new to this channel, subscribe and hit the bell that we don't miss out on anything going forward. Going to be a good week of football to watch, so let's jump right into the video. One thing to start off the video that I do want to mention, how about my Yankees clinching the AL East yesterday? Pretty pumped up about that. But let's get into some football. I know that's why you're here. Had to give the Yankees a little bitty shout out on the channel. All right, so to start off, let's go ahead and look at the record, what we have so far this year in college football. Last week was pretty tough on us. We went 2-4, had 4 losses, 2 wins. Week number 2, which was our first week, we skipped the week number 1 of college football. I know that's confusing. But I was out of town, out of the country. But anyways, so our official record right now is 7-6, and our outright winners, I gave you BYU a couple weeks ago as an outright winner, and they won. Then last week I gave you BYU again and Temple. They both won. So our outright winner underdogs are 3-0. So that's pretty good for underdog outright winners. So let's hope to get the record, get it some momentum going forward. And I think we're going to do that this week. I like a lot of these games. I think it's going to be a beautiful weekend of college football. Let me go ahead and say that. And I want to let me hear on the comments down below, what is your lock of the week? What is a game you're feeling confident about? If there's a reason, let me know why. I would love to hear it. Love to get some feedback and some interaction going, and see what you guys are thinking about these games. If you disagree with something I have said, make sure to leave it down below, and love to hash that out with you. So without further ado, let's jump right into the games of the week that I'm looking forward to watching. First game actually will be played tonight, Utah versus USC. I think that's going to be a pretty good little game to watch. Big game for Utah. Undefeated right now. They want this game. USC, it's going to be at USC, so very primetime type game for Utah. Utah is 3-0. Like I said, they're number 10 in the nation, have a lot of hype surrounding them. And USC is coming off of a pretty good little start, being the fact they have lost their starting quarterback. I do think that they're coming off of a tough loss against BYU. And I think that's going to hurt them. If I had to lean one way or the other on this game, I would take Utah, and just mainly for the fact that it's such a big game for Utah. Another couple games that I want to look at, I told you last week, every single game that Tennessee plays is must-watch right now. May not be the best game football-wise, but it is must-watch football in my opinion, and it's always close. It always comes down to the wire. Makes for some pretty interacting and interesting football games so far this year. Tennessee versus Florida, I think it'll be it's not going to be a pretty good game. But I do think that spread's a little high. If I had to lean one way or the other, I think I may be leaning towards Tennessee at 14.5. That's a little lean for you right there, but that is not an official pick by no means. Another game that is going to be a really big game, biggest game of the weekend in my opinion, is Auburn versus Texas A&M. I think it may be one of the closer big type games that I have for you this weekend. I do see A&M taking this game. It's a big game for a freshman in Bo Nix, a true freshman I should say, going to Aggieland, facing that 12th man, and that's going to be an atmosphere that he's never experienced. So all those fans are going to start moving around, jumping around, and it's going to be tough on the young kid playing in that atmosphere. So I do feel like Monk and the Aggies will have an advantage with that, and I do see them winning by a touchdown at least. Another game, two more games in the SEC. You got Kentucky versus Mississippi State and South Carolina versus Missouri. Don't know how close those games are going to be. I do think they're going to be good football. Most of the time, that's what you get when you have SEC opponents. Unless it's Arkansas versus Ole Miss or something like that right now, that's pretty rough. But and then the last game then I have three more games. Those are pretty much the SEC versus SEC games that I have for you. But Michigan versus Wisconsin, I think this is going to be a huge game. Huge game for Michigan, huge game for Wisconsin. We'll see what happens. And I'm looking forward to watching this game because Harbaugh has a lot to prove this year and every year. He's the most overrated coach with the most overrated team. Each and every year, Michigan has all this hype surrounding them, and they never do much. They don't even make the playoffs. So I need to see something from Michigan and Harbaugh in order for me to trust them. That will be one of my plays of the week. Oregon versus Stanford. At Stanford, I think Oregon is pretty good. I think losing to Auburn in that first game has really fired them up. And this will be one of my plays later on in the video, so I'm going to hold off on what I have to say about that. But Oregon versus Stanford, going to be another great game. And then last but not least, Notre Dame versus Georgia. I do not think this is going to be a close game at all. I think Georgia's going to blow them out. I'm not going to pick Notre Dame or Georgia to cover the spread, but if I had to lean one way, give me Georgia, lay the points. I don't think Notre Dame and that offense and that defense can hang with Georgia. Georgia's a top 4 team for a reason, top 3 team in my mind, and I think that they are going to wear Notre Dame out at home. Georgia's really good, and I think that they're still somewhat undervalued. I know you can only have one top-ranked team in the nation at one time, but Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, and LSU, they're all really good and probably could all be number 1 without any argument or complaint. Those 4 teams are on a tier of their own. Anyways, let's move into my official plays of the game. What you are all here for. My first official play is Wisconsin. -3.5 versus Michigan. I think that Wisconsin's going to beat them pretty good. I don't trust Michigan. Like I mentioned, Harbaugh is not a good coach right now. Michigan's not a good team right now. Patterson has not done much this year. There's nothing to look at when I look at Michigan and be excited about. They should have lost to Army. They never come ready to play in games. So for that case alone, give me Michigan -3.5. I like that. I don't think that's enough points that Michigan needs. The next play that I want to pick is Washington, -5.5 at BYU. BYU has been on an incredible run so far, but I think that they are completely worn out, and I think that the stretch is over. I think Washington comes in, handles business. That game could get ugly, in my opinion. BYU is coming off of beating Tennessee late and then beating USC late. I think both of those were in overtime. They're tired. Their players are worn out. Yes, they're going home. But Washington is going to be coming into town and spanking them pretty badly, in my opinion. Pretty strong play for me this week. My lock of the week is Central Florida. Central Florida playing Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh looked okay against Penn State, I guess you could say. I think they lost 21-14. They should have really been 21-21, or at least had a chance. It was 4th and 1 on the 1-yard line, and their coach kicks a field goal, attempts to kick a field goal instead of going for the tie, which I don't know what he was doing. That game was only close because of the weather. Let me go ahead and say that. Pittsburgh is not very good. Central Florida is very good. And I'm probably going to take Central Florida until they do not cover the spread. I'll go ahead and tell you that. They love covering. They love running it up on these teams, and I don't see it stopping this weekend. If you need a quarterback, go to Hawaii. There's a lot of good ones, evidently, because their quarterback, another lefty Hawaiian quarterback from Hawaii, can sling it. Their defense doesn't look that bad this year as well. So give me Central Florida, lay the 12.5. That is my lock of the week. Oregon versus Stanford. I mentioned this game earlier. Give me Oregon minus 10.5. Get it down to 10 points. So Oregon minus 10 by that half point. I think Stanford and that offense is just kind of too slow right now for Oregon. I think Oregon knows that they have to win out with losing to Auburn. Every single game matters. This is going to be a Pac-12 conference matchup that I think Oregon will be ready to come in, handle business, and beat Stanford pretty significantly. Stanford just came off of a pretty bad loss again this past weekend. So Stanford, give me Stanford. Or I'm sorry, give me Oregon. And then Washington State, minus 19.5 versus UCLA. Give me Washington State. Washington State can score with anyone. UCLA cannot score at all. So that alone is why I'm going with Washington State. Chip Kelly and that offense with UCLA have not figured it out just yet, and I do not think they are going to figure it out this weekend. So with that being said, Washington State is a pretty good play in my opinion. I think they beat them by 3 touchdowns at least. And with 19.5, that would be covering. A couple leans that I have for you. I mentioned Georgia, 14.5. That's a pretty strong lean of mine. I think Georgia destroys Notre Dame. Another lean is Northwestern plus 9. And with that being said, that kind of leads me into my underdog outright winners. I would not be surprised if Northwestern beats Michigan State. Northwestern's getting 9.5 points at home. This is a game where usually when Northwestern is at home getting points, it's not surprising if they come out with outright victory in the game, and that's what I could see happening this week. So it's a lean at 9, and I wouldn't be surprised. This is one of my underdog outright winners. Another outright winner, underdog, is Kentucky playing Mississippi State. I'm not very impressed with Mississippi State. Hill, their running back, is basically the only thing they have going for them on offense. Their defense does not look that great. Kansas State came in and pretty much handled them pretty well, to say the least. And I think Kentucky is going to be fired up after losing to Florida, a game that they should have won. I know they lost by 8 points to Florida, but they were in that game the whole time. And honestly, they should have won. They were in control of the game and really just blew it. So give me Kentucky as another underdog outright winner. So wrapping up this video, just to go over my plays one more time really quickly. Wisconsin minus 3.5. Washington minus 5.5. UCF, my lock of the week, minus 12.5. Oregon minus 10.5. Buy it down to 10. Oregon minus 10. And then Washington State minus 19.5. I like these plays a lot. Again, let me know what you think about my thoughts and opinions on these games. If you have something different, please let me know. Let me know your lock of the week down below. And, it's going to be a great weekend of college football. I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to discuss what happens next week in next week's video. Again, appreciate you being here. We've been killing it in the NFL. My NFL videos come out on Thursdays. NCAA videos come out on Fridays. So make sure to tune in each and every week going forward. That way we can smash these games together and get some victories under our belt and go from there. So again, appreciate you being here. Make sure to drop a like on the video. We'll see you next time. Peace.